What's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning us back in. This is Nonsense Now.
What's going on, guys? Here we have Chris, and Chris, we grew up together a long time ago. We've been a little disconnect, but we started in the Scouts. This is when we first met. Chris, you tell us a little bit about yourself, where you come from, and
What's
Brett
up,
is
Chris?
100% legit on that. It's been years, man. We met each other when we were like young, like could barely. I don't know what I can and can't say, but yeah.
you can say
Say
it
whatever you want.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Anything
Yeah.
you want, friend.
Okay, that's
off
good.
the
That's good.
rails.
So yeah, we met in Scouts. About me, I'm probably the most boring guest they'll ever have on this show, but I'm gonna fake my whole way through it. So essentially, um, all you need to know about me is I play guitar for a band called Death Uriah. I'm very proud of those guys. I've been in multiple bands over the years. That's why Brett asked me to come on, and I'm just now meeting his brother John.
Yeah.
And that's why he threw me on the show. He just wants to go through some things and see about the business side of things, I guess, on the musical side. We're just a regular local band. But yeah, we put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into it. I mean, from the gear to the time we spend doing, writing riffs, coming together. This is the first band I'm actually can say that we write as a band versus me just bringing a riff to the table and broadening it. We actually come together in a room and everybody does their job, which is awesome
Team
because
effort.
yeah, exactly. And I was prior bands, I was composer top to bottom, left to right, and then everybody would, add the salt and pepper. With this band, it's just beef.
That gets old. Yeah, I've had a couple bands myself throughout my younger years. Still play
Gotcha.
every once in a while, but it's tough. It's usually one source of lyrics or one source of a rhyme or something like that. And when everybody works together, it's a lot easier. I only had that in one of my bands. It was called the Plague Awakening. We actually used to play a lot of local shows in the Daytona area. It was pretty fun.
Right on. Yeah, Daytona area's got a killer following. What kind of band was it?
Death metal.
Death metal, yeah. We're not death metal. We're more on the melodic metal side, but
I'd
yeah, I
I'd say
mean,
take some Amir mixed with some Whitechapel, and
oh,
you
damn.
kind of had what you had there. Our drummer is a guy named Jamie, one of the coolest dudes I've ever met. But he would skinny little white dude shred it on those drums.
Yeah, so what did you play?
A lot of vocals and or guitar.
Oh, okay, word.
Depended.
Yeah, he's got a little more experience in the instrument field than I do.
Hell
Uh,
yeah.
just pick around a little bit, not too much. But what made you? Or let me ask you, when did you first pick up a guitar? Like what got you into it?
All right, so that's a funny story. My first guitar I bought off a guy that my dad was doing a job for. Um, I think it was called an Austin, had a giant gash in it. It was green, and
There you
I
go.
picked it up and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna absolutely, pick this up, play it, learn how to do it. Gave it 3 weeks. I was like, hell no, I don't want to do this. Then I picked up bass, played bass for about 2 years. I learned
Bass is
that
fun.
bass is a blast, man. I still play bass, but
There
in the
you go.
band I'm in now, I play guitar. But yeah, I did the bass thing in a praise and worship band of all things for like 2 years, and that's where like I kind of cut my teeth learning, and then like I was like, this is cool, but I want to do this in front of an audience that I actually want to be into, and I want to go a heavier direction with it. So me and another friend of mine met in college, and actually I started learning guitar at the same time I was teaching him bass, and we
Nice.
started our first band together, Release,
Oh,
upon execution, and it's just
there you
been
go. I
going
like that.
on. Yeah, it's been going on ever since. Like I said, I've been in metal bands, ska bands, acoustic bands, proud of every single one of them. But sometimes things just don't pan out. And the band I'm in now, I mean, like for the chillest guys, I mean, me included in all that.
Are you still playing with the guy you started with way back when you started your first band?
No, everybody from that band is dissolved, man. Like people moved away and did all
Yeah.
their own thing. Actually, everybody in the band that I'm in now, we all kind of met through a very weird set of circumstances, and then yeah, the band that we're in now, my wife's cousin's actually our drummer now, because
Nice.
we kind of had a falling out with the other guy, and so we went into it with him. We were sitting at a party one night after the other guy, we parted ways with him, And I was like, hey man, you ever thought about picking up drums? And he hadn't played in like 10 years, but he was a phenomenal drummer in high school, jazz band drummer. And I was like,
So I
we
want to
need to
learn his
get you.
drums.
Yeah, he's amazing at it, man. And he was so nervous about it. And I was like, dude, if you say you want to play drums for us, I was like, got a solid bass player, got a solid vocalist. I said, we'll go on half on a drum set right now. We left the party at like 11 o'clock at night, drove out to like past where Brett lives, which by the way, we're in the middle of nowhere right now.
That's how you know you're serious when you
Yeah.
stop in the
Yeah,
middle of what you're
man.
doing and go.
And we bought a drum set off a guy at like 1 o'clock in the morning, went to the unit, set it up. I worked with Brian for like 6 months, relentlessly, Tuesday, Saturday, got him back in the groove, and we're opening up for All That Remains August 2nd at the Tar Heel.
Oh, that's awesome, dude.
Yeah,
Wow,
huge
dude.
show.
That's awesome.
When is that show?
August 2nd.
August 2nd. Awesome,
So
dude.
with
Wow, man.
the band that I'm in now, we've had a killer run. We opened up for the Vans Warped Tour bus stop. They did year before last, 4th of July. The Warped Tour
Nice, dude.
was supposed to be in Wilmington, but they split it because they lost the permits for the actual show. So we got thrown on the bill for that like last minute, like the week of. They were like, "Can you guys open
Damn.
for this?" And I was like, "Yeah, absolutely." And but we've opened for Avatar, we've opened for Native Howl, which is like thrash grass. You guys
Yeah,
really got to
yeah.
look them up. But we've
Nice,
opened
man.
for a bunch of huge bands. We've been blessed with this run. You know,
That's
it's
awesome,
fun.
dude. That's really good to hear, dude. You know,
Yeah.
and hearing that success, you know, should give other people inspiration. I mean, because it doesn't matter where you come from. You know, if you have a passion for something, you can push your way through it.
Exactly.
And your band's name is Death of Uri, correct?
Correct.
And you're
Yeah.
available on YouTube and
How do
We
you
have
spell that?
YouTube.
Just for anybody that can't hear, I can't figure out how to spell that.
Death of Uriah. So it's DATHOF
Okay,
well, check them out, guys.
nice, man. Yeah, I'm gonna give it a look up too. You know, I want to get some of that music flowing just to see, because I mean, if you're everything that you're saying right there from music wise, I mean, that's totally right down my lane. So
Yeah, you'd be into it, especially saying what your influences were.
Yeah,
at
I
your
mean, my
bands as
music
well.
influences are all over. My core sits with like punk and pop punk of like early '90s. Just because I mean that's just what vibed with me, I guess, when I was that age.
You like A Day to Remember?
Oh, I love Day to Remember. Actually,
Wow.
fun fact: Day to Remember is actually from a town 30 minutes from me where I live right now.
Right on.
Yep, Ocala, Florida. That's where they're from.
Yeah. Okay, that's what's up.
Yep,
Heck
I've been
yeah,
through
man.
Ocala a bunch of times. It's actually a shooting range I used to go shoot at out there all the time. It's free, pretty cool. It's a national forest and stuff out there too, so there's a lot of cool things you can do.
Damn, that is fly. Yeah, we don't.
Oh,
have
there's a
nothing
lot
like
of good
that.
bands in this area, man. Florida breeds the artists, and it's cool too. Coming from Long Island, I mean, growing up there too, there's a very strong scene for Long Island and New York too. I mean, you've got Bayside, which is one of my favorite bands,
Mhm.
straight out of Long Island. Anthony Ranieri, like an iconic artist coming from that area. It's cool. I've met the guy quite a few times just through all the Warped Tours I've been to throughout the years, and just shows in general. For a lot of my younger years, all I did was kind of just go to concerts, and Brett can attest for that because half the time I was going to concerts, and his ass was asking me what I was doing, and I was at a concert.
That's how you get your foot in the door. Believe it or not, is you got to be on the other side of that stage. And like I say, I mean, it's when you're in a band, it's trial and error, kind of like a podcast.
Oh,
Yeah.
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 Because
Trial
essentially,
and error,
Lots of
man.
error. More error.
well, we've had our bouts. I mean, I could tell you funny stories all day, but you're always going to have a show that 5 people show up to, and then you're going to have a show where 500. The Vans Warped Tour show sold out in 2 days.
Oh,
Right.
dude,
It was
I love
packed
Warped Tour.
house.
Warped Tour is a piece of my youth, and
They're
it
coming
it
to an
really
end.
hurt me. It really hurt me when I heard that they were, stopping at least the countrywide tour.
Mhm.
So I know Atlantic City's show is either now, it's like within this vicinity. It either just passed or it's just about to come up.
Gotcha.
But a lot of big names playing out there too. But regardless, like every time I got to go, it was something I look forward to every year. It's a place where there's just a bunch of people who all love the same music that you love, and they're all there to have a good time.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you how many times I've been in the pit where you obviously know when you go into a pit, it's no holds bar. You get hurt, you get hurt. But what happens if you fall? You get picked up. People don't just trample you; they pick you up because they're
Mhm.
not looking to hurt you. If it happens, it happens. Accidents are accidents, and there's always those assholes in the crowds.
I would say
But
you get a few drunk people every once in a while. Just Just
You'd
ain't
be
in the mood for
surprised though.
Karen.
I kid you not. I saw one time. It was 2014 in Orlando at Central Florida Fairgrounds. I saw these two dudes that were being straight up douchebags, just like literally, just like almost like punching people in the pit. I watched probably 30 people go in and just not like beat the shit out of them, but like they made it to where they were the focus of the pit.
Well, do you know the Slipknot story about their song Eeyore?
No.
Yeah,
hear this.
it's actually about a dickhead in the pit. I watch a lot of Corey Taylor stuff when he does
Okay.
his book tours, and you know, you try and get artists' perspective and stuff like that. You know, people that you look for inspiration or whatever you want to call it. And he said that that song was written because there was always this guy that would go to shows and just house smaller guys in the pit, and he finally, I guess, you know, he had garnered such a bad reputation that about 8 or 10 people came out and housed his ass back. And that whole
That's what you
song
get,
was
man.
based off of that. Yeah.
That's what you get. You know, don't be a dick when you go to things like that. You know, anybody listening, don't be a dick when you go to a show. Everybody's
Exactly.
there to have a good time. If you're there not to have a good time, stay home.
And if you throw shit at us, we will throw it back.
Oh hell yeah!
Right.
If you
It's
throw shit
coming
at
back.
them, you best know something's coming back.
Exactly.
It's coming back a little grosser than you sent it.
Oh, you damn right. You have no clue.
So, do you have any favorite guitarists or musicians?
This is a question that really gets me in a lot of trouble, man. Um, it
Well,
really
let's-
does
let's
because
narrow it down to
We're supposed to
just
put you on the spot. That's
guitarists.
the point.
yeah, that's the funny thing. To be honest with you, as a metal musician, and of course, you know the gamut runs all over the place. You know, of course, people are going to name off the iconic Dimebag Darrells and people like that. I'm a huge fan of two guys currently at the moment: Mark Morton from Lamb of God, and
Okay.
get ready, hold your sack. I'm serious. Grab yourself for the next one. Dave Matthews and
Okay.
Tim Reynolds.
No
All right.
kidding.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
why that pick? Why
All
so
right.
diverse?
Dave Matthews has a technique which I call webbing, and
Mhm.
essentially he can make notes out of nonsense. But if you ever watch him play while he's singing, he never stops, like on the guitar or vocally. And what he does on the guitar doesn't necessarily match the pattern of what he does vocally.
So kind of like
So
maybe Tom Morello,
yeah, and I'm gonna be
because
real
you
with
never
you.
know
I'm
what the hell he's
not,
gonna do.
I'm not a big fan of Tom Morello, man. I
He's
think
not. I wouldn't say I don't know, the most technical, but he knows how to manipulate that amp and those
correct.
sounds
Yep.
with what he's doing. He's great with keeping on tune that way, and that's art in its own.
Yep. But Mark Morton, some of my style emulates off of him. I like Mark Morton for the fact that he's in a metal band, but when he leads, it's bluesy. You know what I mean? He
Okay.
knows how to really, really diamond that Virginia
music-
sound, which is where
Oh,
they're
that
from.
music that pulls you in. That music that touches the heart, man.
Yeah, and Dave Matthews. I mean, like I said, I mean that question I've answered honestly for 5 years, and people are like, Dave Matthews, what the hell? And I'm like, legit, dude. I was like, watch the guy. Like, dude's knocking. If he's not 50 yet, he's in his 50s, and he goes out there and crushes it. You know, every single night, and they're doing 3-4 hour sets.
If those two battled, who do you think would win a battle?
Yeah.
Oh, on guitar,
If
it's
you had to
that's
put them face to face, equal
man.
guitar with equal guitar, who do you think would win that battle?
People's vote decides it all.
Yeah, I guess if you were going for like a broad general sense of playing, of course Dave's going to take it. Mark Morton is very good at what he does, and I am a huge
give you
fan
that.
of the
But it's pretty
intricacies of
limited
what
in-
he does. But if you listen to any catalog of Dave Matthews, even their garbage stuff, what he's doing on guitar, and especially since they picked up Tim Reynolds, like Tim Reynolds is a friggin' psychopath on guitar. There's no reason anybody should be that good at guitar. But Dave is a hard enough act to follow on his own. But like I said, if you had to put the two together in their respective genres, of course Dave's going to get the crown because I mean, no, more people know who he is,
Right.
Touche.
and his
Very true.
style, his stylistic playing is emulated by everybody. You know, if you're in a jam band or whatever, that's what you're going after. You're going to hear somebody bust out Crush or Crash Into Me or something like that, even if it's just a riff of it, because that's what they're
Right.
trying to emulate. It's like playing jazz, but hitting all the right notes.
So y'all heard it, man. Dave Matthews. Check him out.
And I have no shame in that.
Hey, I
The glory of
support
an
you.
opinion.
I think he's very talented, honestly.
Hey man, I think anybody that can play an instrument's a talented person. That's
I
not for
agree.
everybody, man. Like
The only
I started
I
with
learned was the
string
trumpet.
instruments. Yeah, I started with the viola and the piano. Piano and viola were two instruments that were like my first two.
I started on bass clarinet.
Hey, there you
Speaking
go.
of which, what other instruments can you play?
Oh man. All right, so I can play keys, which nobody knows about until this gets released. I play bass, I play guitar. I'm sure if I picked up a bass clarinet, I can play that still to this day.
I want to learn sax. That's what I've been
Sax is
itching to
fly.
play.
I couldn't do it. I tried sax,
I've
couldn't do
never
it.
tried.
I tried oboe just to be that weird kid.
I don't think I've ever even had my hands on an oboe, but I know what they are.
Yeah, you're not missing out on anything.
Is
Trust
that
me.
a genre like death metal with sax in it? Like,
Dude, there's so much eclectic stuff out there now. Like there was a thing that popped up on my Facebook the other day. It was an Indian metal band. And
Really?
they were guys from India and they slayed, dude. Like top to bottom, like just nailed it. And then I don't know if I'm sure your brother John's probably seen them before. Baby Metal. Have you seen them, John?
Yep, I have.
They blew my mind.
I'm
It
gonna
was
have to
like-
check them out. I've never
it was
heard of
like-
them.
It's like watching anime, but it's real people, but it's metal. And I was like, this is I hate how
And
much
what
I
was
love this. They're called Baby Metal.
Baby metal.
Baby metal,
It's
yeah. It's
Yeah, there's a lot
K-pop
of-
with metal.
yeah. I was gonna say there's a lot of K-pop. getting
K-pop?
Really popular. Yeah,
You
dude.
heard correctly.
Oh, Lord.
Hey.
All right,
Well,
so
while you guys talk, I gotta take a tinkle break.
hey,
keep going.
you go tinkle, John.
No, I gotta take
Tink-
that tinkle.
Tinkle Meister. Speaking of K-pop, my daughters have become obsessed with BTS.
I have no clue who that is.
Okay, I'm not even certain what the letters stand for. I've heard a few different things. It was like behind the scenes or some other stuff. Long story short, it's the way they dress. It's very feminine, and they wear makeup in a very feminine way as well.
Yeah.
And they always dress like as if they're in school still. And I always find that a little odd. It's like, are you throwing hooks out there for my children to reel them in on this BTS?
That's exactly what they're doing. Yeah, they're pandering. Yeah.
That's what it sounds like.
Pandering works. At one time, the band that I'm in now, we wore masks.
Really?
And yeah, we did that on a whim.
Do you still have your mask?
I still have it. We haven't worn it though because what was funny is that we played. I make a lot of weird faces on stage when I'm playing, and
I could imagine. Dude.
it's become like a mainstay with our band because like the guy that is our vocalist George, he is a machine on stage. I mean, he's moving and stuff like that. Well, and we didn't realize at the time how much crowd interaction we had missed out on because they couldn't see what was going on behind the mask. And I was like, well, it's kind of hokey, it's kind of gimmicky, but let's try it. And then we just like when we played the Vans Warped Tour show, that was the first show we played without mask on, and of course we still had Death Uriah as the name. And I was like, let's just drop the stick and go into our normal clothes and do it that way. And people responded so much better to actually seeing what was going on versus the blank slate. However, there is a caveat to that because the mask that I had was awesome because I had a mesh over my eyes. I essentially went to a Halloween store, lit a mask on fire. I put the shroud, whatever you call it, to cover my eyes, and then I did webbing over top of it. It's actually on my Facebook page, the mask that I wore. And so it was cool because people didn't know what to look at because when you can't make eye contact with a person, it makes them mad uncomfortable. So, of course, like people see us come out there with the mask on.
They're trying to find the human in your
See?
face.
Exactly.
Just
Yep.
jumping back into this conversation, but whole thing about eye contact. We had a conversation about that in our first podcast. I'm telling you, eye contact creeps people out.
Yeah, and that's what I was telling Brett is that we at one time we wore masks and I had my eye holes were blacked out so you couldn't see it. So when you can't make eye contact with
Yeah.
the musician on stage, there's a barrier and it creeps people the fuck out.
Yeah,
But it
Hollywood
worked
Undead likes doing
Really
that.
good.
Just a quick little break from the music bit. In our next episode, we'll be doing some conspiracy.
I'm excited for our next
theory
episode. I kid
things.
you not. I'm very excited.
Bring that mask in the next time you come if
I'm
you
down.
can find it.
Absolutely.
Sweet,
yeah.
man,
I know
sweet.
exactly where it's at. I've got 4 different renditions of it.
Yeah, we have a
I'd
lot
like
of
to
fun
see
stuff
it,
coming up in
yeah.
our next episode. So maybe we'll give you a little tease of it at the end of this this episode. But
Sounds good.
So obviously, there's not really an end in sight for you and your band at this point. Like you guys are just like
And
pedal
that's
to the
awesome.
metal, trying to get all the way out
Metal.
there.
No pun intended, right?
As far as how far do you guys travel out to tour, if you do any touring?
We haven't done touring. We are a local band. I mean, we got an offer from the Native Howl to come play in Detroit. We just got to find the time to do it.
Right,
Michigan's
that's probably pretty hard.
Well, it is because we've got our singer, he's got a family, and then my bass player, he's married, and then he's also tied down to his job, and then our drummer is actually working for my singer now, and he's got a little boy. I'm the only one that's I'm married, but I have no kids. Matt doesn't have kids either, but I always said that if it got to the point to where they wanted to tour and it ever blew up, like I would be kind of apprehensive. This is where I'm weird as a musician because musicians go after fame and fortune, and they want to be on that stage. They want that feeling.
Everybody wants to be a rock star,
And this is where I get in trouble again because I despise it, and I'm going on the record saying that
And that's probably why you'll get famous, right there.
That's usually how it works.
And that's probably why you'll get famous.
Man, when we play these big shows, like I come off as it's funny that you guys asked me to be on the podcast, but of course you don't know the other guys, but I'm probably, and they'll agree with this, I'm probably the most antisocial out of all of them.
You're preaching to the choir on that. I
yeah.
don't hate people. I just prefer not to be spoken to.
People ruined it.
It's not that for me necessarily. It's not that I'm like I hate people or anything like that. It's just that what everybody aspires to get, I guess, from the music side of it. Of course, they don't want to work a 9-to-5 job. I can agree with them on that. But man, I've already got a fly ass woman. I've got all the guitars and gears I could ever want. My house is bought and paid for, which it's not much of a house, but it's done.
Hey,
I'm in my
yours.
end game.
He's got a crib full of guitars.
Yeah, Brett's seen it. He's been
there
there.
you go. There you go.
And
got a
it's
crib
fun
full
to
of
do
nerd
on a
shit.
local level or a regional level and stuff like that. And if the circumstances lined up and they said, "Hey boys, let's hit it for 3 months and see what it does," I would totally be down to do that. But if it became where I was going to be away from my home for like 8 to 10 months at a time, I don't know that I'd be okay with that. Like A Day to Remember
You wouldn't even try it once, just to say you did it.
Maybe I don't know, but like A Day to Remember, they have a member. If you look back on some of their original videos, they're kind of like, I don't want to call them ugly, but
they're terrible, but they're literally depicting Ocala. Like the music video where it's like all their like little cutout figures running on like grass landscapes and clouds. That's literally Ocala.
But what I was getting at is they have a member that is in the band that does not leave to go on tour with them. He writes with them, he helps produce them, but he stays home because he's got a family.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it's pretty fly because like if you go to their Wikipedia page and stuff like that, I do research on all kinds of bands and stuff like that just to see, and he does it from the comfort of his own home, and he's still an actual member of the band. He just doesn't tour with them.
It's crazy.
That's pretty smooth actually. It's work from home in a band. I mean that's pretty
star,
rare.
Bro, but
that's got to be pretty rare.
And of course, he's not getting road checks, but he's still getting royalties. You know what I mean?
Of course, if he's writing stuff.
Speaking of royalties, we have a song called Royalties.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, speaking of that too, like
songs.
All right, you go ahead. What do you got? I want to hear what you say. Speaking of what songs?
My buddy here has brought a little setup here. What do you got over here in the corner?
Oh yeah, I brought my little. I've got a Line 6 Spider 5 for all the Line 6 haters out there.
I love Line 6. I actually do. The Line 6 Spider series is fantastic. It's all easy integrated, simple. It sounds good, and it's cost efficient.
Yeah, I have my ESP. It's a E2 M1 that I chased after a buddy of mine for 2 years to sell me, and he finally sold it to me. It is by far probably one of my more superior guitars. It's very simple setup, single pickup. I put a Fishman Fluence Modern KSE in it. It's got a push-pull tap on it. I'm not a big
Nice.
fan of multiple knobs, multiple channel switching, and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, and we can get into that later, Brett. We ain't got to jam it out. We could probably jam it out toward the end of the show if you want to.
And no, that sounds good to me, man. I just want to
Yeah.
see what you had over there and
Yeah.
let everybody know that there's a bit of a show to come if he's willing
there
to
we
play.
go.
Oh
There's
yeah,
food for
absolutely.
everybody
It's
at the end.
100% legitimate, man. But we're so deep into like actually talking and getting to know your brother John's cool as hell. This is awesome.
Man,
love-
we've
Actually,
done some stupid things growing up, dude.
Oh, we've
like
done some stupid shit.
this
I will
combination
say.
right here is a dangerous
literally.
combination. Like it is.
Word.
It gets dangerous. So here, I got to go one. for
People
everybody.
get hit with bean burritos.
See,
Is all
all right,
I'm
see,
saying.
and that's exactly the one I was about to go to. So
He was already on it.
we used to just chill, smoke when we were younger, ride
We're
around,
assholes.
ride
Let's get
around
that
town,
across.
like 2 a.m, buy like 10 or 15 bean burritos because they were like 89 cents then. Now they're like $1.50 or some shit, but whatever. We buy a bunch of them. Obviously, we're not gonna eat them all, so we'd start chucking them at like signs when we're driving. And when you hit a bean burrito on a stop sign, it's like kaboom! It's pretty intense. It's pretty cool looking.
The
But when
coolest
you
thing I
hit-
ever saw go out of a car window was a cinder block attached to a chain.
Oh my
Uh,
god!
Yeah, a friend of mine from way back when. He'll see this video. Shout
kill
out to
somebody?
my buddy who got his windshield busted with a cinder block with a chain on it.
Oh my
Um,
God.
Yeah, his ex girlfriend was ape shit crazy, and they were at Rena J's, and his dumbass parked by the road, and they threw a cinder
Ooh.
block doing 60 going down 17 right through the front of his windshield with his car parked out front. Everybody went running out in front of Rena J's. I was at Rena J's that night. I went back
Holy
inside. I was
shit.
like, Chris, you're not going to want to hear this, but there's a cinder block in your back seat. And he's like,
Oh my,
how'd it get in there? I was like, from the front of the vehicle.
oh my god!
Sorry,
Damn.
Chris.
Yeah, man.
So, getting to the other half of that bean burrito story, we would drive around, and for some of the unlucky souls that we encountered that were walking on the sidewalk, they would receive fresh hot bean burritos.
Free bean burritos.
Hey,
That's
if
the
it's
important
free,
part.
you're doing a public service.
So, and I think
Speaking
what
of-
enticed us to do this, like, so we had, when we were younger too, Brett and I, we were walking with our parents somewhere in New York, and Brett got hit with a hamburger.
It is so true, man.
This
I'm gonna
motherfucker got a hamburger just thrown at him walking down the street. Like,
I'm walking down the street, and my sister hands me her drink, and she's like, "Hey, can you hold this for a minute?" So I hold her drink. She turns her head, and at that moment, somebody
Fucking-
throws a McDonald's cheeseburger out of their car window, and it just nails me, dude. Like just
fucking nailed him.
just.
And that's what set us off to set bean burritos.
They-
Fucking
I
people.
don't know if they were aiming for me, but if
They
they,
hit
were,
you. They hit
were,
you.
They were very accurate.
I got smacked with a cell phone in a hot dog outfit when I worked for a local food establishment. When you used to have to put on this stupid hot dog outfit and go out of the road and hold a sign.
Right.
Some dude straight up threw a Nokia, like old school Nokia at me.
Oh,
I'm surprised.
literally
I
a brick.
died. Yeah.
Yeah, those
It
things
was a
are
brick.
dangerous, man. They're
What?
indestructible.
What brand was the burger that hit you?
It was a McDonald's
It
double
was a McDonald's.
cheeseburger.
Those things are hard when they're fresh, dude.
Dude, it was a McDonald's double, dude.
I remember it, and so I really feel like that's the catalyst to our food flinging youth days.
Yeah.
So my sister, in the moment, thought that the noise she heard was me dropping her drink, but in reality, it was just her brother getting nailed with a cheeseburger on the side of the road in New York.
And
No
we were
big
like,
deal.
we were kids. We were like 8 or something like that.
Yeah, I
too,
know.
like-
I was a kid. You know, everybody wants to, throw a cheeseburger at a kid. Did I look hungry or something?
we did dress like bums. I mean, I will say.
Well, to quote Tom Segura, some people suck.
A lot of people suck. Let's revise that.
But
Yeah.
I appreciate that cheeseburger being tossed at me the same. 'cause this
It
is-
taught me a
I've
lesson.
been able to tell this story many
Oh, yeah.
times. now. So thank you, cheeseburger pelter.
No, so
And
when
you
we
guys created your own game out of it.
Yeah, right.
dude, no. So when we hit, we ran into some people one night.
Called
and I
burrito
had a-
bash.
I had a really good burrito throw going like 30 miles an hour. I nailed this dude in the face, and all you heard was "Wow!" And then we were gone.
Shit, that's good.
Like that's all we heard. And then we were gone. And
I-
then we used to rip that town up though. Brett would do 360s in the middle of the freaking main roads and run through people's driveways and like lawns and literally driving through people's lawns.
I had
Like,
a
you
buddy.
know how the roads here. This is your lawn. You drive here, but no, we're driving here. Driving down
driving
people's
right
lawns.
over it. Just right over it. I had a buddy actually in Florida. His name was
Oh,
Patrick, and he'd get wasted. He had a Mustang 5.0, one of the older ones, like a 80s model, something or another.
the Fox
Uh,
body style.
yeah, and he'd get drunk in the middle of the night and just go out in his car and go trash can hunting, dude. And like he'd just go plowing through people's trash cans just for fun. Like this is like not even just once. This is like he did this for fun. So it's like the trash can bandit strikes again.
We used to get fucked up in my old neighborhood out here in Florida. My buddy's neighborhood. We used to go around drinking every night and steal everybody's garden gnomes and make a city in our yard. So like it was usually like every other day we get wasted out there. So every other day you could progressively see everybody else's lawns get picked through, and then ours get like a lot bigger.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, some of them didn't make it. We were really drunk. We dropped some, broke some, threw some. Like, I don't know. We found this orb one time, though. It was this big green orb. And my one friend was tripping on shrooms. And it was the coolest thing in the world to him. It was just, his soul was in that orb. And then we're walking, and my other friend throws a garden gnome at it. So all I'm seeing is garden gnome coming. I think it's going to kill him because it's like cinder block. So I'm thinking it's going to kill him. It hits the orb and just explodes.
He got lucky.
Well, he got lucky, but it looked like his life force just drained from his body right that moment because his life was in that orb.
Yeah.
And he didn't say anything. He just looked at my other friend. It was my friend Josh that threw the garden gnome. It was my friend Jake that was holding it. My friend Jake looked at him like he just murdered his like puppy or something and just
Tell your
walked
boy
away.
he's lucky because a busted gnome's a lot easier to explain than having half a gnome sticking out your ass that got thrown at you.
Yeah,
So.
dude, I thought he was gonna die.
Yeah.
I thought, but hey, the stupid things you do when you're a kid, right?
Yeah, man. We've all been there. Oh, Brett's breaking out the clipboard. What's next?
Oh Lord, yeah. I was kind of wondering if you just had any general advice for anybody who wanted to get started into playing the guitar. Like, what would be the best approach? Like, what do they buy? What do they proceed to read or learn in order to get good at playing the guitar?
Absolutely. I have the best advice. Don't do it.
Don't do it.
That's a really tough question,
suck you
though.
in.
Even for how I learned, I actually only learned by I taught myself with tabs compared to like chords and stuff like that because tabs are easier for my mind to just process. And through that, though I feel like tabs are a harder way to learn, I was still able to learn things.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what got me into it, because if you know your chords, you know your notes and all that stuff. I mean, you're golden.
Well, a broader answer to your question from my perspective is things have changed so much over the course of the past 10 years and on both sides. I used to teach guitar. I did lessons for a local music school here for a while, and
that's cool.
It sounds cool. It's not. Essentially 75% of it is babysitting, and 25% of it you get the kids that are really into it. But there's so much out there now to stimulate the mind. Video games, Facebook, Instagram. Nobody wants to learn a craft anymore because you can literally get famous online for showing your ass.
We're talking on podcasts.
Yeah. Well, but podcasts, there's still effort put in here.
Yeah. You know what I want to learn, and I completely blame the History Channel for this. I want to learn how to fucking be a blacksmith. You ever watch Forged in Fire? That show is goddamn awesome.
I've heard of it.
That show is fucking awesome. People smashing metal and making axes and swords. Tell me that wouldn't have been something we'd want to do growing up, Brett. How many swords and things did we buy from the flea market and then cut down trees and orange trees?
We used to sword fight each other with our swords.
With real swords.
We would go out over on Whipplewood Terrace in particular. That was the exact location. But we would practice with Kempo sticks. Am I saying that right? Kempo or Kento? Kento sticks.
I think you're right. I don't know.
Anyways, it's bamboo in about 4 or 5 pieces and wrapped tightly together. And if you get hit with it, it hurts really bad.
Yeah.
Kendo.
As far as getting into it, stick with it, practice. I quit before I came back to it, and ironically enough, the first song I learned how to play, just because the girl I was dating at the time, she was a really great singer, and she was actually in 2 of the bands that I was in. was Faith Hill's "Breathe," and we learned it so we could go to open mic night and actually play in front of people.
Dude, I
And-
first guitar song I ever learned was "Unholy Confessions" from Avenged Sevenfold.
oh damn! Well, you were way leveled
well,
up from where I
it-
started.
I will tell you, it took forever to learn it, and
Mm.
I don't know why I started on that song. I just really liked that fucking song at the time.
It's the riff.
I had a good time playing that. Like my friend JT was also learning at the same time, so we'd play together. So it's, I guess we kind of almost like taught each other in a way, but we both had no idea what the hell we were doing.
Mhm.
So what-
and, what's up?
Go ahead.
No, I mean that's pretty much it.
So you said you put it down. What made you pick it right back up, though?
Essentially learning the fun aspect of not only hanging out with a good friend of mine, but playing music and creating something is huge for me. Like
Oh, it's
I
such
tell
a satisfying feeling.
yes, yeah, and I enjoy that 10 times more than being on the stage, man, because I don't consider myself a guitar player. I consider myself a composer, and that sounds pompous as hell the way I just said it. But what I mean by
It
that
really
is
does.
I like I like getting the
Oh,
vibe
no.
from being able to lay, multi-layered things and create a song out of them. And my boys would agree that that's how we approach it now. But as far as
That's
going back to
awesome.
your question about the gear and like what should a guitar player get what you can afford, man, because I tell you what, the market is so saturated. Like I have 4 different amps right now. One of them is a full digital pedal board that I power with a little tiny square that's 170 watts, but I literally upload tones all from my computer now. 10 years ago, it was all
Oh,
dry
shit.
dialing with your hands. You know what I
Wow.
mean?
Yeah, I didn't know
Yeah.
that it was that simple now. That just shows how out of it I've been because I really haven't been much in the plan. I'll pop my acoustic out and,
Mhm.
bust out some songs every once in a while. I write a lot of poetry actually, and I have over the years. Because poetry comes easy to me. And it's funny because poetry literally is just lyrics in a different, just laid differently. So I take a lot of those poems now and I'll actually rip them apart. Yeah, exactly. I have material and I'll rip them apart and boom, that turns into lyrics.
Well, yeah, you
So-
find the cadence within the poem and then you set it to a tone
Yep.
for the song. Yeah.
It's really all just about making a chorus at that point.
Yeah. But yeah, as far as like I said, going for gear, man, whatever you can afford. I mean, I started with a Crate 212 amp and a Crate guitar, and I rocked that bitch for like 2 or 3 years. Digged it like in front of people.
Any
There
books
you go.
you picked up, that helped you advance in your guitar playing at any, or is it just really tinkering with the
Did
strings?
you say books?
Books, right?
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Books are really hard to learn from
So
it at all.
it's all
like,
practice then.
at least for me, I'm more of a
Right.
hands-on learner. Like you got to pick it up, start fiddling with it, hearing what each fret gives you.
Yep.
Knowing how to tune your guitar because that's very important because if you're
He's
off
all-
tune,
All spot on. You're all spot on. The thing with me is I'm not big on covers, man. Like a lot of guys they'll sit there and upload 20 cover videos, and me, I'm all about like just trying to augment chords and make just some of the eeriest shit come out possible. And ironically enough, it
that's
goes
cool,
back to
man.
Dave because Dave does the
Yeah,
webbing,
that's
and
cool.
the way that he plays, we're tuned in drop C, and that's heavy, but it's not as heavy like Wage War and Architects. Those guys are in like
no,
double.
wait, I
drop.
like Wage War.
I love Wage War.
I like me some old Amir too.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Muir's good. I think, but right now the biggest band on that circuit is Architects, and even Wage War has
Yeah.
admitted that they have pulled inspiration from Architects.
You ever listen to Ice Nine Kills?
Actually, they were just here, I think, about 3 weeks ago.
they're
and
not they're not bad, man.
yeah,
Ice Nine-
yeah, very
um,
theatrical.
Yeah, I actually saw them at Warped Tour last year, and Census Fail is another one of my favorite bands.
Mhm.
From our youth, and Brett can attest to that. He loves them too.
No, yeah. It's a
but,
secret passion. It's a
but
secret passion.
Not
they
now.
actually Census Fail not anymore.
Cat's
Census
out of the bag.
Fail and Ice Nine Kills hopped on stage together and started singing shit and playing together, and I thought that was pretty awesome. So, and through Warped Tour, I've actually come across a lot of famous people, met a lot of famous people. There's this band called Water Parks. You ever hear of them?
I have not.
They're actually really good, very poppy, very catchy. Not like his music almost feels like it's like almost radio mainstream, but it's not if you listen to his lyrics. Because they wouldn't touch the radio with those.
Right.
Do
Um,
you remember hearing a Sunday Driver at Warped Tour when we
I
first,
do.
our first Warped Tour ever. Did whatever
Yes,
became of them? Did they ever
they never
become
went
anything?
anywhere really. No, not that I ever saw.
That kind of
Not that I
makes me
researched
sad.
them
I
too
felt like
much.
they had a lot of potential.
I mean, there's a lot of bands that do, but things happen, get in the way. A lot of bands fall
I think
out,
it's
and
pretty
that's a
cool
shame.
that you guys can still keep your band together with all the personal things you do have. Like you have a lot of bandmates who have children, and that's pretty hard.
All right, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you everything you want to know about it, as far as from the front to the back, and the key to it is monitor drug use. And that's
Yeah.
I'm being 100% legit with this
Hey,
because
that's what can
that
that's ripped so many apart.
exactly. And over the years, I've lost members because of that because I don't tolerate it.
Right.
And now pick your poison. Smoking weed that don't count. You want to have a
No,
beer or
it
two
grows out the
here,
damn
that don't
ground. You know
count.
what I mean? Come on now.
That don't count.
It's a plant that grows out of the ground. How are you going to call it a substance? That's a
Exactly.
totally different topic that we can get
Exactly.
on a totally another episode.
Yeah, and
The 2020 candidates, you better be on point. Is all I'm saying.
You want my vote? Go green.
Me, I don't do any of it. I'm the most boring out of all of us because I don't do anything. I drink water and hope I don't go into AFib, which is a heart condition that I got diagnosed with. So
That sucks.
well, it's all part of life, man. It's
Right.
funny because like getting on stage in front of people, that anxiety and stuff, like it's the last thing you want to do because it could trigger it. And then like I'm like, fuck it, if I pass out, just drag me off.
Hey,
Right.
It's like just as soon
go
as
out
we
and do
go
what
up
you
there,
love.
exactly. But the second we go up there and nail that first note and the tachycardia comes down and I get back to ground zero, dude, it's fucking game on. I just use that energy and you channel it. But going back to what I was saying about what happens behind the scenes, like the band's Warped Tour bus stop show was the craziest thing I'd ever seen because you see the dichotomy of so many different bands and their pre-show rituals and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Our pre-show
Who did
ritual,
you get to play go around? Who did you get to like work around in that?
any
Big names?
Yeah, we played with Silverstein was on the bill.
Hell yeah.
Beartooth was the headliner on our
I actually got a
section.
Beartooth volleyball I got from 2014 when they were in Orlando.
Mhm.
Got that from the pit. I stole that from a little kid. Yeah,
Bless the Fall was on it.
Bless the Fall. I like me some Bless the Fall.
Man, I tell you what, between
You know
all
who
the
I've been
bands,
digging
all
lately
those
is Neck
bands.
Deep.
Yeah, Neck Deep.
I love Neck Deep, man. I've been their songs are very actually influential, like Gold Steps.
Mhm.
Literally, that song is all about just don't let life get you down.
Right on. Yeah, but we've opened up for Max Cavalera from
Nice.
Cavalera Conspiracy and Soulfly and stuff like that. This is what I won't name names, but well, I can name names on the good side, but I can't on the bad side.
I've met some
They
shitty people at Warped Tour too. Dude.
Oh, I'm sure you have, but behind the scenes is a whole different.
Oh,
ball
I've been
game.
backstage with Ronnie Radke before.
Really, I'm sorry to hear that.
The guy's a scumbag. He's
Yeah.
not a scumbag. Most sexist and cocky person I've ever met in my life.
Yep. All because he got off on he got really light sentencing on a
Yeah,
charge.
he really did, but he wrote some damn good material when he was in there.
Mhm.
Wow, I mean, Raised by Wolves was probably some of his best work.
Yeah, one of the fattest breakdowns I've ever heard. Raised by the
I mean,
Wolves.
and it was all anger written. That's the best part.
However, when they released Alone, they lost me.
Oh yeah, same here,
Yeah,
man.
I was like, no,
Just the album cover lost me.
Yeah, but when I heard that song, I was like, this is straight trash. But it was funny because they were actually there was a issue between them and another band called IC Stars.
They're
Yeah.
the Hatchet Tour.
Yeah, and
Didn't happen.
because IC Stars was roasting a blunt and
Stars is
Ronnie walked up
fucking
on him or
awesome.
something. Oh, they're
For
amazing.
anybody listening has never seen IC Stars live, do yourself a favor, get some tickets for them, go see them live. Fantastic show. You will never regret it.
Yeah, we had the chance to see them in Wilmington. They threw down before they fired their vocalist, the screamer, and one of the guitar players I think got let go as well. Yep, that's what happened. But
Ooh, you know who else plays? Finish that. Sorry, I didn't know you were.
Oh, it's cool, man. But we saw the original lineup, and then Zach got fired, and then he started a band called Outer Glow here locally, and I think they were out of Greensboro, but I hadn't seen any activity. But going back to the pre-show rituals that bands do, Beartooth was cool as hell because
they seem like cool people.
We show up, and our pre-show ritual is, a couple of the boys go grab a beer and, just kind of chill out. And then I'm the boring one. I'm back there with my water going, hey, how's everybody doing? And then, like, Beartooth, they had a whole trailer full of friggin' gym equipment. and like they're in the back, like lifting kettlebells and doing like
Pumping
calisthenics
iron.
and stuff like that. And then
Really?
there was another band who was doing a mountain of cocaine, and then
Hey.
there was another band
You
that
think some of them keep going like that, man?
oh dude, they rolled deep with that stuff. But one of the fellas that I mentioned earlier, and I won't say his name again, but we opened up for, that was the worst show we'd ever played for an opening slot as far as like having a headliner, because the crowd wasn't exactly awesome, but the guy that
Yeah.
we opened up for, like, he was so loaded that
Oh, shit.
he got on stage and just banged the bottom two strings of his guitar for an hour and screamed into a microphone, and like everybody was so stoked to see him, and then we saw him live and we're like, yeah, we
Sounds like
understand
All
why.
American Rejects.
I'm not familiar with them, but yeah, it was terrible.
I
That's
kid you
John's
not.
girly band side.
Oh
I don't know.
yeah,
I've seen half the time. I used to like them a long time ago. Like I don't know, shoot, when I was maybe like 15, in that range, maybe. But after I saw them live, and I lost a lot of love for them. But then every other band I wanted to see other than them, they always were touring with in some way, shape, or form.
Mhm.
So I really had no choice.
They had a few songs that stuck around and made it to radio, but
Mhm.
it was like two maybe.
You know who's a damn good band to watch go live? Watch live is Pierce the Veil. Pierce the Veil plays
Oh
an
yeah, yep,
awesome
seen
good
them.
show. Dude, Vic and his brother. I mean, they like that is one of the nicest artists and like bands just in general I've ever met. He just loves his fans. Like I mean, the first words out of his mouth were like, I appreciate you for being here because I can't do this without you.
Mm.
Like, I mean, come on.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
big words.
that's love for your fans, and that's he's
humble.
not in this for the money.
Mhm.
I mean, I've never really ever even heard of a bad interview, about uh, Pierce the Veil or Vic in general. So, I
Going
don't know.
back a little ways to you were saying, you wear a mask and you make a lot of faces. Um, I did notice that with a lot of guitar, like Jimi Hendrix, for example. I was watching
Mhm.
some of like the Woodstock footage,
Mhm.
and if you watch him when he's playing his guitar, like he's not looking at checking his fans out. He's
Oh, well, what do you think he's doing?
up here. Yeah, I know what he's doing.
Fun fact on that too. He used to take a right-handed guitar and restring it backwards because he was left-handed.
Yep, that's why his headstock was inverted.
Yep, they didn't make left-handed guitars yet, by the way.
Yep. But as far as the faces, like you asked, no, mine are not like emotionally like, oh yeah, I'm loving it. No, I taunt.
It sounds
people.
like the sounds coming out of his mouth, like when you watch it. But
Yeah, I taunt people, and I make goofy faces because my previous two metal bands that I was in, I had this stupid mentality of it's got to be serious and we got to go up there and but I was young and stupid. I mean, we
Right.
started Release when I was 20 years old, and then we started Fates when I was 25, I think. So, and I know that doesn't seem that young, but like very regimented with these guys here. They're such tight players that you can go on stage and you don't have to worry about if somebody's going to miss their part or not. These guys literally just dime it in every single time. And so I'm able to go up there and goof off, man. Like, and shit has happened. Like, George has knocked me over. I've knocked him over. Um, Matt, he's
I love a
dropped
lot
his
of bands
bass.
that love what they do, man. They just the stage antics. That's half the reason
Exactly.
you go to a live show.
Yeah, and we see a lot of bands, whether it's local or regional, that they get up there and either one, they're scared to move, or two, they take it entirely too seriously. And we try to break the mold of that because we want everybody to have a good time when we play, and including us, because it's
Good
about the
vibe to bring.
fans, it's about the audience, but at the same time, you want to be remembered for being the fun band, not the serious band or the gimmicky band. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Oh, exactly. I mean, you don't want to go out there exactly. You want to have that label attached to you that's somewhat, I don't want to play with the band that's always too serious.
Yeah, we call it stoicism, stoic. There.
Sorry about that, little technical difficulties. Getting back to where we were. So what exactly were we talking about there again, guys?
I think we're on faces. We'll be making faces tonight.
No. No,
Yeah.
but you've got to come to a show to see those. But
Yeah.
like I said, when I upload this to my page, and I'm sure there'll be a few people that want to see it, just based on the fact that I'm a friggin' circus act on stage, and that is no bullshit. Like when I go on stage, I'll stare at lights and do the dumbest things, man.
My most iconic concerts I've ever been to, I remember, aren't because of how great the music was. It's because of what happened on stage.
Yep.
I remember I saw Asking Alexandria live when they were first like starting to tour over in the U.S. And I saw them in a place in Jacksonville, Florida. It was a shanty ass looking building on the outside, but when you walk in, it was this huge, like almost like garage warehouse like spot where they were playing,
Mhm.
and they were rocking so hard at one point. Part of the ceiling, I kid you not, part of the ceiling like fell and just missed the drummer, and crashed on the ground there. And like they looked at the crowd like, we're fucking jamming so hard, we're bringing the roof down. They like kicked the fucking shit into the crowd, and everybody started freaking out. Like I will forever remember that.
Yeah,
Also,
that sounds like a good time.
also because I was fucked up, and I'm surprised I remember that. So it was
Yo,
fun.
acid flashback.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Laura, I hope that don't happen.
yeah.
I'd be in the middle of fixing an air conditioner.
Yeah. Yeah.
Chop your hand off, put it into a
Would not
friggin'
be good.
put it into the fan blade.
All right, he's staring at the notebook again.
Yeah, no, I did have one more.
What
one
else
more
is on your
question.
mind?
Yeah, man, bring it on.
One more question, music related, and we're gonna kind of free flow after that. But if you'd say that you made any mistakes coming up in your music career, um, would you change anything in particular in order to better where you ended up at this point?
Nope.
You keep it all the same.
Absolutely, because you learn a lot from bad encounters with bad people, and that is actually what led this band to become the band that it is.
I guess what I was really trying to get at is, do you think you had any missed opportunities?
Um, yeah, I would say that. I would say probably when the music scene was my missed opportunity was I got into it way too late. Um,
I
around
feel like I gave up
2000.
too early, so I'm glad you at least got into it. I gave up way too early.
Yeah, I got into it too late, being able to actually like play in front of people and feel comfortable doing it because from like the years of here locally in Jacksonville from like '08 to 2012 was like slamming, and we were packing out small clubs with my early band, but to be honest with you, that band was more like punk metal and it wasn't a great band. I look back on videos and I'm like, oh god, like why did I do
I did
that?
that shit. Damn.
Yeah. And but like as far as jumping on labels and stuff at the time, I mean there was a local band here. I can't remember their name, but they actually jumped on a tour within this moment and played a few shows with them, and that was like a huge deal for somebody in Jacksonville to actually get out, and
Wow,
that was like 2009 time frame. And
that's pretty cool.
yeah, and that's my only regret is that I got into it a little late. I'm older now, so of course, had I had the talent that I feel like I have now, and I had the guys that I have now, but we were 10 years younger, and it was that time frame, then yeah, hell yeah, we would have hit the ground running and just absolutely took it out. But as far as any bad instances or regrets that I have, no, I have none. And the boys, they might disagree. With their own personal, issues with certain people that they've encountered and stuff like that. But to be honest with you, it's a beautiful culmination that essentially derived out of a really bad situation amongst a few of the members, and we all came together and like, hey, let's hit the ground running. And we lost two members and we picked up two members, and
I
to be honest with you, it's way stronger, way more streamlined now than it's ever been, and there's zero drama, which is awesome because I don't do that. The second drama rears its head, I'm out. I take my ball and go home.
uh,
Life's too short to deal with it.
it really is, but I like the points you make there too because I feel like music industry to make good music, you're probably a unique person.
Mm-hmm.
Unique people don't always blend.
Correct.
And when you put unique with unique, something's gonna clash somewhere, some
Mm-hmm.
shape, some form,
Mm-hmm.
and the fact that you guys can bring together all of that, all the different spectrums that you guys can bring to the table to create one cohesive like song or one
Mm-hmm.
one conglomerate as your band. It takes a lot of dedication to stick it through and do something like that.
Yeah, I noticed
And
when
I
we
I
talk
commend
about you.
that. I mean, that's tough. I mean, it's tough for me to even keep on a schedule of brushing my teeth. So I mean, so good good job to you,
You
man.
heard it. John's got dirty teeth.
Dude, I will admit I didn't brush my teeth this morning, so I feel bad for everybody that had to walk by me. But then again, you shouldn't be
That's
that
their
fucking close to
problem.
my face. You know, don't go near my face.
Distance. Just keep your distance. You should be
It's in my
fine.
bubble.
If you're in
Get out
breath
my bubble.
distance, you're too close.
Get out my
There you
bubble.
go.
But when you go up on stage, how long before you get in the zone? Like
That's got to be terrifying. Like the first
that-
time you ever
like
did
that's
it, though.
overwhelming anxiety. I would have to imagine.
Things have changed through the years. In the beginning, yes. The first show we played, man, this sucks too because they just tore this bar down. But the first show we played with my first band
Oh
was at
shit!
it is shit. And the first show we played was this guy Frank owned a bar called Duds and Suds, and it was a laundromat that was also a bar, and they just
That's-
randomly started hosting bands. And we booked a show for $100, and he's like, "I need you to fill 3 hours." I was like, "Oh damn, we got 45
Damn.
minutes worth of music."
3
So
hours.
we just picked up a bunch of cover songs. So we had a female vocalist, so it was real easy. So we just tapped into Lacuna Coil,
Yeah.
Evanescence, everything we could get our hands on. We did Circles
Ooh,
by
there
In
you
This
go.
Moment, everything we could get our hands on. We hit the ground running. But we practiced a whole year in Alex's attic before we ever felt like we were gig worthy. And then Alex comes back and he's like, "I got us a show," and I was like, "Shit, I don't want to do this."
Ah,
And we went out there, pure paralysis, like
oh,
terrified out of my mind. Now in this band, essentially what this is going to sound so lame. The lead up is I watch the bands playing either prior to us or after us, of course, as much as I can. But usually the band prior to us, if there's like 10 minutes left, I go to the van because we have a van that we store our equipment and travel in, and I
Good.
crank the AC on. I don't want to hear nothing. I don't want to see nothing. I don't want to smell nothing. I just want to be left alone for 10 minutes. I go inside. I build the aggression. I get the anger in me. We hit the stage, and the second the lights hit you, all the anxiety or fear or any of that stuff, for me, it's none of that. It's more just anger and aggression. The second the lights hit you, you get to purge that for the next 30 to 45 minutes depending on your set length and set time and stuff like that. So
I like the way that you go about that, because I've heard of so many different routines.
It's-
And
it's hard when you're sober, I'll say that.
yeah,
That
I've
I
never had
commend
to
you
really
then.
deal with a big crowd like that. I've been in crowds maybe to 50 to 100 where I've had to play for, but I mean nothing much bigger than that. So I commend you on that. That shit's nerve wracking.
It is very nerve wracking, especially when the boys can have a shot or two, or do something to take the edge off. But
Yeah.
two of the
You're
members
only
of my
one
band.
who's not loose at that point.
Exactly. Oh, I'm
Loosey-goosey.
wound tight. But the thing is that there's so much intricacy that goes into our playing style that I've got to be on, and you can't be on if you're on something. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
your hands
but
ain't gonna
then-
move that fast.
exactly. And if it doesn't play out, or if you miss a note because you're sloshed, it really shows. And we've seen bands completely crumble on stage because of they went way too hard in the paint at the bar, or hitting the
Yeah.
bowl, or doing dabs or shit like that before a show, and they just completely melt 10 minutes in.
I mean,
But
not to
you know,
mention
like-
the lights won't melt you, but shits are hot.
exactly, yes, you will get fried. But yeah, it's different, because I really limit myself on what I do prior to the show, and then when we hit the ground
Smart.
running at a show, I mean, we give it our all. And there's a lot of bands that don't know how to, I guess, balance that out, and it sucks because I've seen some of the most amazingly talented bands just absolutely shit on themselves on stage. Asking Alexandria, it happened here. Their last show when they broke
Really?
up, where they got back together, was at Ziggy's in Wilmington. We watched it happen.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
You got
I
to
was
witness
there.
that.
So it
You
takes a
witnessed
lot
that.
of discipline to be able to get
Didn't
up there and just
the
keep
lead
a
singer
focus
go?
on-
He went to go what? We Are Harlot or something. He was making.
Correct. Yeah, he started We Are Harlot. He also put out a country album, which was pure dog shit. I'm on the record saying that.
Glad I did not hear it, because that I probably would have thought it was dog shit anyway from the just.
You
just
know, you're
hearing it
still
with
gonna look
country.
it up now. Though.
Yeah,
I'm probably gonna
and,
have to, unfortunately.
But We Are Harlot was actually good. But
Yeah, no, I liked We Are Harlot. They had some good writing.
I think there was a lot of tension between Ben Bruce and then the lead singer. I can't remember his name. Danny Worsnop.
Yes.
And that
Danny, I didn't know his last name.
that night it culminated. You can watch it on YouTube where like Danny's like just wailing into a mic, just absolutely hammered, and then like Ben's just wailing on the guitar, and they're trying to like duel each other, and then like
Wow.
Ben gets pissed off and knocks over the mic stand, and then like I just had a feeling after that night things were not good because they weren't.
Wow.
You can tell as being in a band when a band's not gelling.
Yeah.
They were not gelling that night. There was a lot of downtime between songs, which is an absolute
You
momentum
don't want
killer.
that. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
like.
What kind of downtime do you normally have in between sets?
Actually,
not much based on how many. I mean, every band does it differently, but throughout as many concerts as I've ever been to, the quicker they can transition, whether it's they have to change chords or change like the whatever tuning they're in, the quicker the better. And usually that's when the lead singer will come in with some banter to keep the crowd occupied.
correct. And our band, we do the opposite. A lot of bands that we've seen now, they use like laptops, and they have all these samples and crap that they play between songs. And
Yeah,
I
I hate
refuse to
that
do
stuff
that.
though on certain parts. It depends on what they play because sometimes it's completely different. Like I'm listening to some pop punk band and they're putting like a techno mid going on. Like I don't,
And
like, it just kills my vibe. That kills my vibe right there.
I come from the Pantera way
Oh, I
of
love me
thinking
some
where
Pantera.
it's four guys making a wall of sound. And so what we'll do is, in order for me to give George a break, which is our vocalist, and give the boys a break between songs, I will write lead ins or interludes between the songs to actually get.
There you go. Just
Um,
to keep something sound wise
right.
going.
Yeah, and then of course I'll mic myself up, so I'll talk to the
That's
crowd
smart
and
though.
stuff like that.
Leads into your next song. Your interlude flows into the next, and that's actually one reason. One of my favorite band, Blink-182, in the self-titled album, they had a lot of interludes that bled into their next songs, and that was kind of like one of their like prototype albums. There, it was a very, very different from what they've done before, and it worked.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that's cool, man.
Yeah. So
That's,
we are very big on no. I think wasn't Blink that put out the or no, maybe it was Sum 41 that was like all killer, no filler.
Yeah,
and like
that's Sum 41.
That mindset applies to live shows as well, because
Oh,
if there's silence on stage, there's silence in the crowd. They don't give a shit.
Oh, I mean, come on. I mean, Sum 41, Blink, Simple Plan. I mean, all early,
There you go.
90s to late 90s bands that, killed it. And the
Yep.
best part is I collect all that stuff on vinyl now, because I like how they'll make the stuff that came out on CD on vinyl now, and I like that because I mean, come on, who plays with CDs anymore other than like a video game, and that's even getting more rare.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you go browse the CD section of Walmart. It just gets smaller and smaller and smaller.
It's all
Yeah.
gone to digital download
Yep.
and Spotify.
Yeah,
Eventually, we'll
which is
start
what
seeing
we'll
that
also be
happen with
uploading
the
to.
DVDs as well. I'm sure.
Well, and bands make their money touring now. You don't make shit off of record sales or song spins or nothing like that.
Yeah,
It's
merch.
pennies on
It's
the
all
dollar.
about the merch. Everybody wants to
Yep.
be all about that $35 T-shirt. Did you know how much they were selling Ariana Grande shirts? And I just thought this was funny because I saw the post on like a BuzzFeed news article. They were doing like these stupidly simplistic water stain shirts with like just like one blob of a water stain, and it just said Ariana Grande on there, and they were selling these shirts for like I think it was like $40 to $60 or some crap.
Oh, I'm not shocked.
Dude, one of the stains turned out to be looking like a big old blue dick. It's like flopped on there. It looked like somebody took their big old Johnson and just whacked it on the fucking thing with some blue dye. And
That's something you guys should bring up on your conspiracy theory episode. All fallacies that are hidden within different
She
things,
did it
different
on
images.
purpose.
Yeah.
yeah, she could have. Maybe it's hers. Could be her
It
big
could
wang.
be- Yeah, it could be hers. Remember Lady Gaga had that rumor for a while too, that she was packing heat.
I mean, even if she was, I'd let her.
I
put
did
it in
hear
there.
about that actually.
Mhm.
That rumor lasted
Still fine.
for a while in my mind actually.
You ever
Yeah.
seen her? You ever watch American Horror Story?
Yeah, I saw that first
See the
episode.
hotel episode of her?
Man. Yes, sir.
That
Yep.
season of her? Oh, yes, ma'am. Please, like, I will. Like, she's just so damn fine.
My wife put it on. I was like, "Is this porn? Am I gonna have to like go in the corner and mercy jerk it real quick? Like, what is going down, dude?"
Like, what
Like,
are you doing? Are you testing me right now? It's like,
Yeah.
motherfucker. It's like, is
yeah,
this
I
a
mean,
test?
she had like pasties on and a thong, and next thing I know, like she's like balls deep on this guy, and I'm like, "This show's awesome." I couldn't tell you what
Yeah.
it's about, but I'm the first 15 minutes, I'm all in.
That's what caught me in Game of Thrones. First set of titties I saw, I was like, I don't have to pay for HBO. Let's go.
Yeah,
Yeah, speaking of Game of Thrones, I heard that a lot of people were talking about they're getting therapy sessions for the
Oh,
way
get
they
the fuck out of
just
here! Like, I'm
that's how
sorry,
sensitive
you
our society has become.
everybody. This society is all about. Oh, I want a trophy for just for trying. Here's a participation trophy. Whatever happened to fucking trying?
I,
You
I
know, that's
think
why nobody does
I think
anything
that
anymore. That's why.
encourages people to not try harder.
No, yeah, exactly, man. That's like, oh, it's
It's
okay.
like, all
It's
right,
all,
well,
it's
I
all right,
want
Billy
something.
Bob. Yeah,
I mean,
one plus
it's
one is
great for
not
a
three,
kid
but good
who's
job.
just learning a sport. It's like participation trophy. Okay, give him some courage, but eventually you guys say, hey, look, this is something you got to earn. I mean, this
I'm
means something.
slap on the butt, man. Go, keep going, get the hell out of here. Like you keep moving. You got this. Good job. You want a high five? Bam, high five. Keep going.
There is a trophy shop next to the audio shop that I currently work at, and I tell you what, they slam it out the park. So,
Oh
yeah,
god.
yeah.
You should
Jeff
go in
told
there.
us he told us he's like, man, when that whole everybody gets a trophy era popped up about 2011, he goes, I could have retired. He goes, but man, I love money.
That's some shit, man.
Yep.
Be like, just ask him, be like, what do you want, a trophy?
But of all things to be big business trophies, it's I know that going with like making Grammys and things like that, like there's a huge process in making these Grammys, and like the ones that they actually get on stage are like just like a replica basically. It's not like they're an actual Grammy, and like once they announce who won the Grammy, they'll
Are you
send
sure they don't
send
give
off
him the actual Grammy on stage?
I'm positive they have it manufactured and they get it like 2 weeks after the
Yeah, it's
Grammys.
mailed to him. And there's a funny story with the Grammy thing too, because
That's
Corey
fucked.
Taylor and Jim
Deception.
Root from Slipknot found out how hard it was to actually destroy them because they won a Grammy for Volume 3 Subliminal Verses, and Corey
They
had to
tried
have it
break
modded into a toilet paper holder.
Ah,
That's awesome.
that's
Yeah, I've seen them handcraft. I get stuck watching those, how it's made shows. And
oh, I fucking love
I get
that
lost
show.
in that kind of stuff. I love mechanical things. I'm obviously
wanna
I do
be-
engineer, so it's.
I don't want to be an ignorant person that doesn't know how everything works, just knows it works. I'd rather at least know some knowledge about it.
Like I want to know like why things break, not necessarily how it works. I can care. Is it working? Great. Then that's where my mind's at. It's like, all right, well, is it broke? All right, well, what caused it to break? All right,
Yeah.
well, that's where most people fail.
What causes it to break is usually
That's what you do for a living.
Right. It's most people you get in their part swappers and they're just, oh yeah, this part looks bad. It's got a little burn mark on. It's like, yeah, I see like control boards that will look like they're bad, but there's nothing wrong with them. It just got hot. And
Yep.
a lot of people got there like, oh, you need this. Next thing you know, you're buying 15 parts you didn't need, and
Yep.
that's garbage.
It's called upselling.
That's called ripping people off. I can't sleep at night. That's what that is.
I'll
it's-
sleep better on my nice new bed from upselling.
Right. Yeah. I don't think I'm gonna put you in the sales department.
Oh, totally.
I'm
I'll
gonna
also
stick
be-
you out of the house.
Put me in, make me head of sales, but also make me head of HR.
Yeah, oh Lord, that'd be a conflict of interest right there.
Nah, never. So that way, all the people that get pissed at my sales tactics, I can answer the phone and be like, "Thanks for calling HR."
No, I'm just talking about you being in HR. That's conflict of interest. That's had nothing to do with sales.
Hey.
Yeah,
I
you got a bit of a
definitely-
track record.
I thoroughly care about people's emotions.
Doubt.
Yeah, you caught me.
Yeah, busted. Hey, John, show him your palms. So,
Oh, for
That's-
anybody that's gonna see it, I mean, I've got one left. There you go.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I got that thing a long time ago.
this was quite some time ago.
Yeah.
When we were younger, he was going straight edge. It's
I was.
I was gonna ask if that was straight edge movement there.
Oh
It
yeah,
was.
a long time ago. A long time ago. We live and we learn, and I learned hard.
He's broke the code though. So
There's another local gentleman that's got the X's tattooed on the back of his hands. It's also broke the code.
See, not here because I don't want to look like that much of an idiot.
Yeah, you did good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought about that.
You did good.
I remember how much that thing has faded, like from when he first got it. Though,
Well, I
like
actually had a
tattoo in the
removal
palm of your
process
hand
on it.
is like
I've had
one of
two
the hardest
removal.
tattoos to stay.
One of, and I think they say the feet's one of the other ones, but
Yeah,
But I've had two removal processes done. That's why it looks so terrible. So
really. You know they have a process now that will get rid of it in the first try.
No, what's that? Like cutting my hand off?
It's a laser treatment.
Yeah, I had laser treatment done on my shit the last time, and it is not pleasant. I will,
Right.
I will
Yeah,
say
no,
that
it's-
getting a tattoo hurts way less than getting it removed.
Well, yeah, mistakes have consequences sometimes. So
Hey man, but if not for pain, I wouldn't know I was alive.
this is true, man.
How about
Say-
these? How about these chairs, brother?
Yeah, man. These
Hey,
chairs
where those
here,
sexy ass chairs from? Where'd you get those?
man. These were free 99 from the upholstery
Like,
shop
are we
in New
talking-
River.
Are we talking
Amy,
5-finger? Or are we talking legit free?
we're talking about like legit free, like permission to take it home free. But Amy over in New River, she runs an upholstery shop, and she hooked me up with these chairs yesterday. And I
Amy
mean,
over where? Where are we talking?
New River Shopping Center. She runs an upholstery shop. You know, she
Nice.
fixes furniture for a living.
I had that skill. I can sew, but I don't know if I can do upholstery.
Yeah, she wouldn't even accept the tips. She just said, "Yeah, have them."
See, and that's a good person right there, man.
Yeah.
We need more of those in this world.
You find a lot of that in Jacksonville. I'll be honest with you. Like, there's just a certain kind of people who are like native to here that are just like that. They're very generous in nature. You get a lot of people who move here from other places, and they don't mix very well sometimes. And
Whatever do you mean?
oh, I don't know. It's so, a lot of Northerners who come, and it's.
Hey,
You-
I'm an original Northerner, and I enjoy
I know. I try not to say.
Now
it,
you're the
but
Northerner. Son
You
of a bitch.
asked, so.
You're the Northerner now.
Well, I was born and raised here. I spent some time in New York.
Hey man,
I claim here.
you got 500 miles north of me.
Hey man, you went from New York to Florida, and you went from just insanely busy to just insane.
Yeah, I mean that's all the crazy stories happen in Florida, man.
I mean, you want to see a guy get his face eaten off? Go to Florida. It's
Dude, there's a guy that lives in Daytona Beach who I think he calls himself Bushman. You should look him up on Facebook. He calls himself Bushman. What he does is he dresses up in a ghillie suit and sits inside planters on the sides of the road.
I've seen that.
His name's Bushman. Yeah,
we got a
I've seen
local
him.
here, Radio. I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
Chris is familiar with Radio. He goes around doing like Tai Chi and like Kung Fu, just like on the sidewalk. No shirt, tatted up.
His
And
name's Radio.
yeah, he used to carry a radio with him everywhere. He used to have a boom box he carried around. This is a long time ago
Alright.
though. I ain't
Alright.
seen him carry a radio in a minute, to be honest.
Mhm.
But
So he's
I seen him on a bike a couple weeks ago, and that blew me away, dude.
Bikes!
Like I've never seen the dude ride a bike before.
See,
Like,
you learned something new about him, so that's a good thing.
but I don't really know his story, but he's been
He's
pretty
local
familiar to
bike.
a lot of people in Jacksonville. Yeah.
Gents, I'm gonna hit the head real quick. Y'all keep it going.
Yes, sir.
He's a local legend around there.
Yeah, man. He just stands on a street corner practicing Tai Chi. I'm assuming it's Tai Chi. That's what it looks like.
Or he's
based
just
off
doing
my,
random like body convulsions on the side of the road, and you thought all along he's doing Tai Chi when in all reality he's asking for help.
No, there's just mixed martial farts. he was having gas problems at the time.
That's
He was
I would-
calling for help.
he's doing the YMCA, but
Give him
that's
a
the West
reverse
End.
Heimlich.
Reverse time. Like what?
Yeah, help him out.
I would prefer to stay away. I like
Yeah.
to avoid conflict if at all necessary, because avoiding conflict means that I don't have to have human interaction.
Says the guy that nails a guy in the face with a bean burrito.
Exactly. I don't
He
like
likes to avoid conflict.
Yeah, I didn't have to conflict with him of his views for being angry for getting hit in the face with the burrito because we just left.
It was a flea tactic. It was a hit and run. And
All right, you know what? It wasn't. There's no such thing as a hit and run here, sir.
it was a hit and get. That's what it was.
It was more. It was a burrito hit. Let's be more specific, because the hit and run sounds illegal. Burrito hit. and run.
Right. This is not a vehicle accident that occurred. This is a burrito to the face that occurred, and I'm sure at the time it probably carried some kind of punishment, but now it's a thing of the past. And if that guy's listening, do we want to say sorry or not really?
I'll say I'm sorry because
It was the
I'm
asshole
man enough
move.
to say I am now man enough to say that was probably not the best decision. But you know what? I'll at least say you're welcome for that free dinner that night.
Right.
So,
I mean, I was blessed with cheeseburgers. She's blessed with burritos. I'd say the tables are balanced.
like
I
I
don't think
said, you
we need
can't.
to.
We already went over it earlier. If you're hitting this podcast, a dude hit burrito or got a girl, whoever, whatever it was, you now know why we threw that burrito at you. So
Yeah, there was a reason for that.
it's not our fault.
It just wasn't you and hot burrito time. It was. There was a little
Had nothing to
backstory
do with
to it.
you. Just bad place, bad time.
Welcome back, Chris.
I do have to
Hey.
say the reason I had to piss was because of Brett. He is an amazing host. This man brought Powerade, waters. He
Look at
messaged me like 3 days ago and he's like, "What you need, man? We got you. We got you." And my dumb ass showed up with a core water and he's like, "I got waters, I got Powerades, I got everything you need, dog. What you need,
We
dog?"
got some burnt pizza rolls too, if you want them.
He freaked out about that earlier. That was epic. He was like, "Oh shit."
Pizza rolls are where it's at. God's creation and one of his best, I'd say.
It's really good at eating up your insides too. The esophagus don't appreciate them, but they're good for the soul.
Oh yeah, I tell you what, I always eat them when they're like 400 degrees still for some reason. Like I just can't wait, man. I just get to the point where I'm like, you know what, pizza roll's going down, and it goes down, and I pay for it for the next 2 or 3 days where I can't feel my tongue.
It's like one of those things where I know there's a lesson to be learned here, but I'm not going to learn it today.
Yeah, it's times just it's like, yep, all right, I'm gonna have a special moment. It's just. I know this is the definition of insanity, but this is what we're going for. This is a bunch of nonsense, and that's kind of what me and my brother do is nonsense. That's
Yeah,
the purpose of this podcast.
The show's killer, guys. I mean, seriously, I know this is your second run. I hope to be like
Appreciate that, man.
a year from now. Bring me back on. You guys have built it up.
I feel like you're going to be a frequent guest, and
I'm down for that too.
let's see. We're always down for shenanigans, man.
I'll get better equipment eventually, and we'll be able to get some more guests rolling at one time.
Listen, don't listen to him. Okay, the equipment is fine. I have done interviews before, and it went real shit real quick. I had a woman have an anxiety attack midway through the interview, so I grabbed the mic and started interviewing my own band. So this is going phenomenal compared to that.
All right.
Well, I am
as long
pleased
as I
to
know
hear
I'm not
that.
having panic attacks, I'm having a good time.
I tell you what, I would like to be able to like maybe get some of your bandmates in here, and possibly if that's something they'd be interested in.
Absolutely.
The more guests, the better. We're gonna really be coming up with a lot of good topics too. I thoroughly think, and we're getting towards the end of the episode now, so I think it's okay to kind of release what our next episode's gonna be. At least topic touching is gonna be something that's been fascinating me for a while because it just blows my mind. Flat earthers. So that's going to be the main topic of what we're going over next time. So whoever's interested in that, I really think you should tune in.
We love you for believing that. It's just you are giving us something to talk about.
It's something interesting, and if anybody's out there that does hear or watch this episode and you are a flat earther, please contact us because we want to get you on there as
give us some evidence, man. Prove us wrong. Please.
Exactly, and we would love to have you as a guest. So
The crazy thing about the Flat Earth Society is there's members all around the globe.
there really is.
It is so widespread. It's really unbelievable, man.
But they according to them, they have
Alright.
some science behind it. So without delving too deep into it, we should probably cut it off there, at least for the flat earther part, because conspiracy theories are going to be another thing that we definitely are going to touch on. Because there's just some funny ass conspiracy theories, and there's
I
some
have
other.
a few things that would seriously disprove it wrong, and we will discuss those in our next episode. So y'all stay tuned for sure.
We can't give it all away. We can't give it all.
Definitely
away.
looking forward to that one.
That's gonna be a good one. Definitely, I would recommend tuning in on that one. I've got so much content on that one. And for anybody too that just wants kind of maybe a gist on it, if you have Netflix, there's a documentary on there about flat earthers. I forget what it's called, but it was pretty popular a couple months ago, so I'm sure you can find it on there.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna check it out.
It's very interesting to say the least. So,
So
yeah.
Chris, let's check this pickup, man. Let's let's see what you got for the camera.
Yeah. Let's
I
so
want
from what I
to hear the
understand,
song you were practicing earlier.
yeah, from what I understand, you got to
To really shred some shit. Is that what you're going for?
yeah, let's get something going here, man.
This song is actually called Attrition. The other one, don't listen to that one because we didn't get to finish it. That's Attrition.
Nice, man. I like that, dude. That's awesome, man.
Well, thank y'all very much. I appreciate it.
For sure. Awesome, guys. All right, so looks like we're about to end it out, guys. I mean, it seems like that's about all the time we have for today. Would you guys agree?
Yeah, we rocked it.
All right. Oh, turn your mic back on there.
That would be it, folks.
All right, guys. Well, appreciate you guys for listening, and please don't forget to hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel. You can find us at Nonsense Now, just searching on YouTube. If you
Also,
like,
Facebook and Spotify soon.
yep, Facebook and Spotify are going to be coming up here in the next week or so. you got to give us a little bit of time to get those flowing, but we will definitely get them up there. Also, if you want to contact us through the old-fashioned email, you can email us at nonsensenowstudios@gmail.com. Like I said, thanks for tuning in with us, guys, and look forward to our next episode. Like we were saying, we're going to be talking about a lot about flat earthers and some conspiracy theories, so it's going to be fun.
Stay tuned.
Have a good one, guys.